from the front.
Very good morning, cadets. Hope you are aware of the examination from August 2nd onwards. Prepare well, because it is 50 mark question examination, so you need more preparation. Prepare well. Today let us understand about the indigo and how indigo cultivation is done, and under the RITES system the planters force the rights to sign a contract or an agreement. At times they pressurize the village headmen to sign a contract on behalf of rights of the farmers. Those who sign contract got cash in advance from the planters at low rates of interest to produce indigo. But the loan committed the right to cultivating indigo at least 55% of area under his holding. The planter will provide the seed and the drill. So here the problem that the planters forced to cultivate indigo in a very fertile land. So if the indigo is cultivated in the fertile land, then naturally the land available for the cultivation of food crops availability will be less. That's why most of the farmers, they were not happy where the planters were forcing the cultivators to grow indigo in a fertile land. Now let us understand how indigo was produced. Let us please try to understand. Indigo plant used to color the clothes. Today I told you, today we are using artificial or synthetic colors. So the synthetic colors used today, it is very easy to produce those synthetic colors. But those days, of course, science and technology was not so advanced. So you can see here how a factory where indigo cultivation is done. Indigo, the coloring was done. This is a factory, you can see. It's a beating of bitter vat and fermenting vat. Means where they bring the plant or crop of indigo and kept the indigo plant for fermenting. An indigo factory near indigo fields. The indigo villages were usually around indigo factories owned by planters. After harvest, the indigo plant was given to the vats in indigo factory. 3 or 4 vats were needed to manufacture the dye. Dye means color. Each vat had a separate function. The leaves striped of indigo plants were first soaked in warm water is in a vat. So what, for several hours, when plants fermented, the liquid began to boil and bubble. Now rotten leaves were taken out and the liquid drained into another vat. So this is entire process of how indigo plants, the leaves of indigo plants are collected, and after that they are fermented, or they are made to soaked in a water for a long period. Once it is soaked in a water for a long period, it started leaving the liquid or the color. Once the color is over, the second stage, then it is called beater vat. The solution was continuously stirred and beaten with peddler. So whatever the solution or the color is taken, then the liquid gradually turned green and then blue. Lime water was added to the vat. Gradually indigo separated out in a flax, a muddy sediment, and settled at a bottom of the vat, and a clear liquid rose to the surface. The liquid was drained off and sediment and the indigo pulp transferred to another vat. So this is a lengthy process where several people were involved in various types of work. So then the crop delivered to the planter and new loans were given to the writer, farmer. Now what we have to understand here, the cultivation of indigo was a vicious circle. Why it was called as vicious circle? Because the cycle of loans, a farmer never be out from the cycle of loans, because the system of cultivation where the farmer take an advance loan, and after taking advance loan the product is purchased for a cheaper price. So naturally the cycle of loan will continue always. There were other problems too. The planters usually insisted the indigo to be cultivated on the best soil. This is what I already explained to you. Because every farmer in India generally want to cultivate the best crop. For example, best crop here reference of food crops. So he wanted to generally he reserved the best available part of his field for the cultivation of food crops. But the planters forced them to cultivate in the best soil and cultivate, whereas farmer preferred to cultivate rice and indigo thereover. Moreover, had a deep roots and it exhausted soil rapidly. One more problem with the indigo, that the roots of indigo plant, it is generally goes very deep, and once roots go very deep, they extract lot of minerals. As a result, what happen, the land will turn into barren land in very few years or less period. Now let us enter the next phase of this particular chapter. Now till now we understood that indigo was not the plant. Now plant indigo slowly became a weapon to the British East India Company to harass Indian farmers, so that Indian farmers forced to produce continuously indigo, so that indigo is supplied to the British companies. So for that British appointed few officers, for example Gumastas. So Gumastas, they were the agents of planters. What was the work of Gumastas? The Gumastas, who are the agent of planters, who came to collect rent, were beaten up, and riots were no longer taken advance. So try to understand here. In March 1859, thousands of riots in Bengal refused to grow indigo. As a rebellion spread, riots refused to pay rent to the planters and attacked indigo factories armed with swords and spears, bows and arrows. Women turned up fight with pots, pans and kitchen implements. So here what you have to understand, cadets, the British East India Company started controlling the agricultural activity of Indian farmers, and they forced Indian farmers to grow indigo in the best available land. As a result, what happened? Indian farmers, they refused to grow indigo. Not only refused to grow indigo, they started attacking on British officers and the British collecting agency. Who are the collecting agencies? The Gumastas. The Gumastas, they were the agents of the British. What is the work of Gumasta? Gumasta's work is to ensure a regular supply of indigo to the British. How he used to ensure? By providing advanced loans to the farmers, and advanced loans to the farmers, so that forcing the farmers to grow indigo. Why did indigo peasants decide that they would no longer remain silent? Who gave them power to rebel? The indigo system was intensely oppressive, but those who are oppressed do not always rise up in rebellion. They do so only at times. In 1859, indigo riots felt that they had the support of local zamindars and village headmen. In their rebellion against the planters, in many villages, headmen who had been forced to sign indigo contracts mobilized the indigo peasants and fought battles with the Lathials. Lathials means they are the British police. In other places, even the zamindars went around village urging the riots to resist the planters. These zamindars were unhappy with increasing power of planters and angry at being forced by the planters to give them land or on long lease or rent. So the indigo peasants also imagined that the British government would support them in their struggle against the planters. After revolt of 1857, the British government was practically worried about possibility of another popular rebellion. Now what do you understand here? Of course, study about the revolt of 1857. Revolt of 1857 was an eye-opener to the British East India Company. Not only eye-opener to the British East India Company, it also responsible for the changes in the administration. After revolt of 1857, the rule of British East India Company came to an end and the British Parliament directly ruled the country. So naturally, British were worried of another popular rebellion, that is was possibility of another popular rebellion. So they slowly started finding an alternative solution to the indigo. So the lieutenant governor toured to the regions of in the winter, and the riots saw the tour as a sign of government sympathy to their plight, the condition. Ashley Eden issued a notice stating that riots would not be compelled to accept indigo contracts, and a word is sent to Queen Victoria and declared that indigo need not be sown. So here what happened, what you have to understand, this is what the defense mechanism policy introduced by the British Queen, because they already faced the rebellion in the year 1857. So now the British East India Company tried to implement the system in which they started explaining to the people there is no need or it's not compulsory to go for cultivating indigo. As a rebellion spread, intellectuals from Calcutta rushed to indigo districts and they wrote about the misery of the rights and the tyranny of planters and horror of indigo system. And the climax was reached when Mahatma Gandhi supported the Champaran movement. So Mahatma Gandhi's visit to the Champaran movement against the indigo planters, in which year? That is in the year 1917. So Mahatma Gandhi, after returning from South Africa, that is in the year 1915, so Mahatma Gandhi started supporting the farmers against the British East India Company. So Mahatma Gandhi returned from South Africa. A peasant from Bihar persuaded him to visit Champaran. So Champaran is a place, of course, where a large volume or quantity of indigo was cultivated, and he requested to see the condition of indigo cultivators in Champaran. So Mahatma Gandhi visited Champaran in the year 1917, and the visit of Mahatma Gandhi to Champaran marked the beginning of Champaran movement. So remember Champaran movement in the year 1917, that began the mark of Champaran movement. The Champaran movement was against whom? Against indigo planters. So Champaran movement was against indigo planters. So not only India, this kind of indigo plants were there even in West Indies. So slowly, as the competition increased or the rebellion started in India, so British East India Company or the British factories started depending on synthetic dyes instead of coloring agents like wood or indigo. In the early 18th century, a French missionary, Jean-Baptiste Laborde, travelled in Caribbean islands, that is in West Indies, and he wrote extensively about the region and published in of his book. So it is always explained, he explained about the condition of workers in West Indies and how the local or the Caribbeans were exploited by the colonial powers or the colonial masters. So this is a detailed explanation of your chapter number 3, that is the ruling countryside. So in this chapter we studied about the taxation system, permanent settlement system, Mahalwari system and the Rayatwari system, and the problems of the system, and of course a comparative study of Zamindari, Rayatwarian system. And we also studied about indigo, Raiti cultivation, types of right cultivation, that is Raiti cultivation and niche cultivation, and problems of indigo cultivation, and how the indigo cultivation finally ended in various revolts, that is of revolt of 1857, and after that even reference of Champaran movement is also there. So in the next class we'll discuss the question and answers related to the chapter. Take care, wish a wonderful day. Thank you.